This is Couples Emporium. We are your hosts. I'm Lincoln, and this is my beautiful wife, Sandi. And today we have a special treat for you. This is our third couples interview with the Higgins. So we're going to, hand it over to them and allow them to introduce themselves, and then we'll get into the questions. Yes.
All right, ladies first.
Okay, well, I'm Trevice Higgins, the beautiful wife.
Of Conrad.
I'm sorry, I was just looking at some stuff. Conrad Higgins. Conrad Higgins.
Yeah, so how many years are you guys married?
It's going to be 27 years. June of this year. Sorry, June 19th.
June 19th. Yeah.
Awesome.
In a couple of weeks.
And any children?
Yes, we're blessed to have two boys.
All right.
19 and 14.
All right, two kings. Wonderful. And any religious affiliation?
Yes, we're Christians, non-denominational if there's a denomination, but we would both say Bible believing, born again.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Amen.
Okay.
All right. So describe briefly how you guys met.
Make it juicy.
We actually did this for our anniversary, our 25th anniversary, right? We posted some of this.
Yeah.
You want me to
go ahead? I want to hear your version.
So we met in college. We went to Kingsborough Community College.
Oh, like me.
We were part of the Christian club, and I like to say, for those who may have come up watching the Cosby Show, I would like to say I did a Vanessa Huxtable. So what I did was I saw him. He used to preach for the events there. I saw him. He was a very handsome, well put together. I found him to be extremely knowledgeable. He wasn't just a preacher making noise. Like he was a teacher, preacher, very deep, very scholarly. And so what I did was I asked a friend who knew him, and I said, "Hey, just lightly find out his availability. Is he attached to anybody? What's going on there?" And she was supposed to do that without revealing who is asking. Well, of course, that never works, right? So somehow the trail led back to me, and so we got introduced that way.
Yeah, basically, the young lady who was the president of the Christian club at the time, I don't know why, but that particular day, she was trying to rush home to her kids. And so we were discussing some things about the club. And so I said, let me walk you to the bus stop, because there was a bus stop outside of the school. And so I walked her, we talking and walking, and that's when she asked me the question when we got to the bus stop. And I feared.
What was the question?
The question she asked me was like, "By the way, are you seeing anyone?" And I was like, first I was like, "Why are you asking?" Because
very blunt,
I'm like, but she said, "Oh, someone in the club was just asking the question." I said, "Who?" And she didn't want to say who it was, and she kept on, keeping it discreet. So I was like, "Yeah, I'm with someone." I wasn't with anyone. Because I didn't know who it was, and I was just like, I don't want to go say no, and then it's somebody like I'm ready to get their oil for, you know what I'm saying? So she's like, "Oh, that's," she said, "Okay, fine, no problem." So me being inquisitive, just kept pushing her. She's like, I can't tell you. The bus is coming. I gotta go. And I said, "Listen, you gotta tell me." And I kept pushing her. And she's like, "She's gonna kill me, but this is who." I was like, "Oh, okay. No, I'm not seeing anyone." and some of it's a little blurry from there, but I think at some point she and I think I remember. I think I remember it was 1997 election day,
November
November
11th.
11th.
Yes.
Oh,
Wow.
wow.
And we sat out. I took her outside, and we sat on the. We were in the lounge area because King's Bar, they had the upstairs lounge. And you
Yeah.
could sit outside. So we came out of the Christian club and we sat outside and we just started talking. And the rest is not really history, but there's some more bumps in the road. But that's where we started actually, talking. Now back then there was no cell phones. I
Right.
mean, well, I had a cell phone, but I'm just saying people weren't. It
We
wasn't a
had all the
prevalent.
gadgets. Yeah.
It
Yeah.
wasn't a prevalent thing, But I had our house number. We talked and back and forth, but we weren't officially seeing each other. We were just getting to know each other in the latter part of '97.
So there was initial interest, though, once you found out who was inquiring.
Say that one more time. I'm sorry.
I said there was initial interest on your part once you found out who it was.
For the fact that you said, I'm not single.
Yeah. I
Not
mean,
seen
yes.
anyone.
I mean, she did caught my eye originally when we come. Okay, so just to be blunt, it's a bunch of young people. There's guys and girls, and a lot of people in the group are single. And I would say only maybe a few people that was either married or was involved in a relationship. So
Right.
I'm not saying everybody was there looking for somebody, but
Yeah.
I think that you're a young person, you're in the 20s,
You observe.
observe and whatever. So when there were people that I knew, let me just put it this way, there were people that I knew that had interest in me that I didn't have interest in. So
Okay.
that's why I said what I said, because I just wanted to eliminate that out of the equation. So she was one that I was interested in. So when I found it was her, I just kept it. I just said yes. I'm not seeing anyone. No, I'm not seeing anyone. But if it was somebody that I had, that I had no interest in, I would just walked away and just kept it what
Got
it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
And what was the biggest challenge in your first 5 years of marriage?
Biggest chat.
Wow. I wonder what you would say.
Biggest challenge.
The first 5
99,
years.
2001, 2, 3, 4. So
Y2K?
no. There is. I think there is. Well, so we didn't have any children then.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think the challenges were so severe in our first 5 years because we didn't have any children. We were just us.
Right.
And I think that if anything, the biggest challenge was saving money. I think that's probably what would be the biggest challenge. Because again, it was just, there's a lot of story. Let me tell you something. It's from the time we got married to what you're asking, it was very challenging in a different ways just to go back. We got married in 99. A month.
We paid for our own
Yeah,
wedding.
we paid for our
did
own wedding.
thing.
Yeah.
Nice.
We're
So-
20, 24, 26, and he worked 2 jobs, Jamaican, worked 2 jobs.
We were both at the time from single parent home because my father passed away.
And my father
Her
passed.
father passed
Yes.
away. So our mothers could not
Yeah.
have the
Afford-
resources to
yeah.
do that. So we did venture out on our own to do this thing, but the challenge was I lost one of my jobs. Actually, I lost both jobs before I got married.
Same.
And a month before I got married, one was a temporary job, and we knew that was going to expire
Yeah.
before I get
Right.
married. But the one that I had my job, yes, that one I lost a month or so before I got married, and then shortly thereafter, we came back from the honeymoon. She lost her
I
job.
got fired. I got a job the next day, but you don't
Yeah.
come back from your wedding thinking.
Yeah, so she went back to
Right.
work and lost her job that week. And, but she got back on her feet real quick, but it was difficult for me. to get back on my feet. But so I would say the challenge was to not keep a job, but to save money,
Navigate finances.
yeah, I think,
Yeah.
like I said to her one time, I said, looking back now, I said, remember we could have saved $500?
Yeah.
And she was like, yeah.
Like that was the goal.
That was like, the goal was to get
Every-
$1,000, save $1,000. Seriously, it was a goal.
Yeah.
And we couldn't, and but doors opened, but eventually that changed. But yeah, I think that was the biggest, and also I think maybe why we took so while to have children,
Mhm.
because the resources weren't there, and so we didn't want to bring a child in the world knowing that it would be difficult to take care of that child. So
Yeah.
I'm glad to know that you guys were able to get 5 years together as a couple, because I find that it's very important, because it helps you guys to bond as a couple before the children come.
you're right.
Because it's a lot more challenging to do that once the children are now here,
Right.
but like you guys had that time together to grow together as a couple.
Yeah, because it does change the dynamics. It does change the dynamics.
It does. It does. The crazy part about it is that we were looking when we told our parents we're getting married, and then we started the process of trying to find a place. I was still at home. She had her own.
I had
She
moved out.
and her sister was rooming together and our own place, and we started to look for a new apartment. And we looked into this neighborhood and particular place, and at the time, the rent for a 1-bedroom was $900.
We thought that was
We would thought that was crazy. $900 in
That's a
19.
lot.
No, that was
Yeah.
a lot back then.
Yeah,
Yeah.
$900 for
Yeah.
one, but it was a nice apartment. It was in a great, complex. It was
Yeah.
all that stuff. And my mother turned to me, wise woman, because she said to me, why don't you just, my sister's moving out. Why don't you just move into where I live? Let's just.
Yeah.
And I'm like, bro, I'm Jamaican, man. I'm not moving into no woman's house, man. I'm getting my own place. Let's start off fresh. And my mother was like, listen, don't be silly, because the part of the application process where they had to come to our home. They came to our individual home to see who we were.
Wow.
And yeah, they interviewed us at our own home. They met my mother.
Isn't that wild?
That was crime. Yeah.
Like,
That was
doing that.
yeah,
but
that
yeah,
was.
they did that
But it was hard to get into. This is Starlight City back then.
Mm.
If you know Starlight City. So
Yeah.
this is Starlight City back then. And so they came to her place, they came to my place, and they interviewed us or whatever. And my mother said after the interview, after they left, mother said, why don't you just move in with where she's at? The rent is cheaper and this, that, and that. And took some persuading, but she did come to unbeknown to me that I was gonna lose my job. Did not know I was gonna lose the job. And the rent that she was paying at the time was half of what we were gonna pay.
Wow.
And so we spoke to the landlord, and she decided to do some changes in the place to make it feel more, comfortable to come in and move in. And so that was a big, big win, because I think if we had gone into this $900 apartment and paying utilities and all this kind of stuff, it would have been really, really difficult. Whereas her place was, all the utilities was already included.
Nice.
So it made a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Travis, if you don't mind, you mind sharing your ethnicity?
My ethnicity?
Yeah.
I mean, what do we call it? Okay, I'm not gonna say what I was gonna say. That might be offensive to your viewers.
By the way, this is not a 40, okay?
So,
I'm familiar with it. I drink it too.
So I am African American, but my obviously African American, but my family hails from South Carolina on my dad's side and Virginia on my mother's side. My mother was raised in New York, but my dad was part of the Great Migration.
Oh, so no Caribbean.
No, he thought so too. I got you.
Well, that was actually honestly, I thought because again the Christian club was built where people were either Caribbean or have some descendants
Parents,
of
yeah.
parents of
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
I was thinking St.
I thought
Lucie
she
or
was.
something like that.
I honestly thought she was Jamaican of background.
Really?
Yeah, because she understood we were in the club talking Jamaican all the time.
Reggae
Every day.
music, 90s dance hall,
All that
reggae
stuff.
music. That's why. It's the
Really?
dance hall music.
All that stuff, and I got convinced that she was. I just never asked, and I just got convinced that she was, and nope. Born bred American.
Ah.
Okay, let's get to the next question, Sam.
All right, so we're gonna switch gears a little bit. We're gonna delve into communication and conflict.
Okay.
So how would you describe your conflict style based on,
Hold on, we skipping one? Third one?
oh, yes, I am.
Oh,
Pardon me.
Yeah, we're on question
Number
number 3.
three, have you experienced a defining turning point in your marriage? And if so, describe it.
defining turning point. Can you give me an example? Because I want to make sure that I know what you're expecting.
Well, I would say what they just described a few minutes ago, getting married and then losing a job. I would take that as a turning point.
Well,
I mean, well,
it was at the start of the marriage.
actually, well, that would be like an example.
I would say an example would
Yeah.
be, sorry to interrupt you, would be when the fact that you didn't have children yet, so having children could be considered a turning point.
I was gonna
The dynamics would change a
Mhm.
little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say, and I'm gonna let you finish, but I would say that was the turning point is when we found out that we were having a child. I think for me, she can articulate her feelings at that time, but for me, I went into this survival mode kind of thing. It was whereas it was just us, and she's at work. I'm doing my thing. Because I do real estate, so I was doing real estate at the time. And by the way, that's how long I've been doing real estate. Well, I didn't say that before, right?
Wow.
But I've been doing real estate from before the kids, so from 2001. So, and so it was, we have our own time, do our own thing. She's at work, I'm doing my thing. Yeah, hey, how you doing? Da 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 da. We're cooking, you're bringing food home, that kind of stuff. But I think once the child came into play, and then he was officially here, for me, I went into this survival mode, gotta. I wouldn't call it. I wouldn't say survival mode. I would say more of a lockdown focus, kind of thing where it's about this child. It's about making sure the child is fine. Make sure this, that. So I don't know. I think that's probably where my OCD kicked in. I don't know. But yeah, I'm no, seriously. I think that's where I was just so protective and all that kind of stuff, and making sure everything is the way it's supposed to. So I think that was a critical turning point for us when he was born.
I agree. Yeah, I agree. But I think the time, like Lincoln said, because we had 7 years of marriage without children.
Yeah.
And so our courtship was short. So I would say like a year and a half from meeting each other until getting married, but we spent a lot of time together. We were really good friends as newlyweds. We enjoyed each other's time.
That's great.
We did a lot of things. So by the time we had children, it was a shift, but I think we were complete, or at least, we weren't in the midst of something. And our children were planned. They did not just happen upon us. So that's another thing.
Nice.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Good. So we're going to go into conflict and communication, and it's based on Dr. Gothman. Not sure if you guys are familiar with the Gothman Institute. So how would you describe your conflict style?
So these are
And
the three types. You either pursue or withdraw.
mhm.
You either avoid or engage, or you're emotional, or you might just be logical
Mhm.
in the way that you communicate. I mean,
Okay, so these are trick questions for me because yeah, these are trick questions. But I'm gonna fall into the traditional category, and I'm gonna say I am the pursuer. So I reach out. It's easier for me to reach out. I'm not necessarily typically the pursuer is critical.
yeah,
Um, I know how to do soft startup, right?
yeah,
So that's not my way. My way is more I'm collaborative, right? So
yeah,
I want to problem solve together. So now that's at my best, right?
yeah.
At my worst, let's see, and let me ask you,
When he
do you think I
presses your
get angry?
button,
Huh?
when he presses your button,
Right. That's
how
what
do you?
I wanna speak because I don't want to be like, oh, I'm just so when I am, do you think I'm angry often or like hostile often? And when I am, how do you experience me?
I
So,
don't. I think to answer the question,
mhm,
I think she is the pursuer. I am the withdrawer.
mhm,
She is the engage. I am the avoid. She is emotional and I'm more logical.
mhm,
I think that's in sense. So I think no, it is very rare Therese get upset. Um, I think that to answer this question, it to me it's different timelines, right? So I
Mhm.
think the Conrad and Therese in our 20s and
Yep.
30s is a different Conrad and Therese now in our 50s,
Sure.
right?
Amen.
And
Mhm.
so, or even now in our 40s, we were different. And I think situations, life, circumstances, um, children, those things play a role in how you communicate,
Yes,
you
yes.
Yeah,
know, and I
definitely.
think that if you're not careful, you allow life to actually speak out of your mouth, if that makes
I
sense.
love
Yeah.
that. That's so good.
You
Yeah.
understand? So you have to be more like for me now at this stage of my life. Okay, so I was a kid that grew up, I'll tell you anything and everything that come to my mouth, right? I
Mm.
was I was I was I grew up in a big family, and so as I got older, I started feeling myself, if you know what I mean. And so and then when I lost my dad, I think I internalized that hurt, at
Mhm.
18, 17, 18 years old as a way of rebelling. So
Mhm.
whenever somebody says something tough to me, yeah, you gonna get it, you know. So it was never as I got into the Lord and met Jesus and got saved, the guy who led me to the Lord said, you got to learn to think before you speak. And
Mm.
that mantra has been with me for a while. And I think
Mhm.
as I slip from time to time, because she probably will tell you that yeah, I may have said something, the way I said it may not be appropriate or may not be the nicest, softest way to say it.
Can I also say this, not to interrupt you? So
Sure.
culture plays a part here,
That's
right?
another thing too, yeah.
So my mother, I call her Mrs. Manners. Okay. So there is an extra level of decorum
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
we kind of grew up with, and I had to get used to his what might sound abrasive that's not abrasive. It's just
yeah,
culture,
It's a
right?
yes.
And
culture.
not and not
Yep.
all. I'm not saying all Jamaicans are abrasive either. I don't mean that because I have met some. I would say Sandi. I think you very very woman of decorum, right? I know there's some other parts in your lineage, but I have
Yeah.
met, not all Jamaicans are. You're not a monolith. I'm not saying that.
Yep.
I want to be
Yeah.
very careful. I'm just saying culturally, I had to learn, and I continue to learn that maybe there's too much. I'm acting like the queen. I need you to bow and curtsy at the waist, and that's not
Yeah.
realistic. And, maybe he needs to, we had to come from the spectrum to the middle to understand each other and create our own culture within our
Yes,
marriage.
yes.
Yeah,
So,
that's so important. Yeah.
I really think that, that is growing up for me, you dealt with your own conflicts. When you have 8, siblings ahead of you, you have to work out your own. The Bible said, "Work out your own salvation." You have to
Yeah.
you have to work out your own problems.
Yeah.
It's like, don't
Don't
let me
feel
come
it.
to the
Yep.
school. That's a true thing that was in my house. Don't let me come up to the school. Don't let me leave work. All that stuff. So for me, it was like you had to. And then now, when you get into a relationship, which I've been in other relationships before, and I think that's also a contributing factor. I would say, for those people who may be watching this and may never been in a relationship, but maybe it's their first time being in a relationship and you think about getting married or whatever,
Yeah.
you may develop your communication patterns in that relationship. But for me, I think I was passive in my previous relationships, which mean that I wasn't saying too much, right? And a lot of things were said, and I kind of just let it go,
Let it
or
slide. Yeah.
let it slide. So I think, as when I moved away from those relationships and come into this space, I started to be more assertive, and I started to be more like, you want to hear what I got to say, or you got that kind of tone. But yeah, I think that she is probably, I never seen her. I mean, I think in the latter years, yes, she might pop off a few times.
teenagers.
Because I
Yeah.
think we get set in certain things. I'm just gonna keep it 100. We get set in certain ways, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
and sometimes we overtalk each other, and the over talking probably create anger, and that kind of stuff, in my opinion. And it's not nothing that we anger, we are like, I'm packing up and leaving. I'm talking about anger, meaning that you just raise your voice a little bit, and I would say, I don't think I've heard her did those things when she was younger. I think as she got older and the hormones kick in. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
So for section 4,
Uh-huh.
I'm going to have Travis lead off on this. So we're looking at emotional safety and attachment. So first thing said, when tension happens, what do you need most from Conrad? Is it space? Is it reassurance? Is it physical comfort or verbal affirmation?
Or all the
It
above.
has to be one.
No, it could be all the above. Or
Okay,
a combination.
so for me, again, I'm collaborative. So I always want to, there's tension. I'm always looking to repair. So I want reassurance and I want verbal affirmation, and I give that. Right. So I'm looking, and again, what I think, tension, I'm trying to recalibrate and come back to safety. And I believe that he can be the most dangerous or the most safe. So I want him to be the most safe. Right. So I'm coming back and I want him to know that I'm safe too. And you're not going anywhere.
Look at that smile.
What is that?
No, I was saying dangerous. You said.
Well, what I mean by the most,
I know. I'm just
you
playing. I'm
know,
just playing. I'm
every
just playing.
you love
I'm just playing. I know
your
exactly what you mean.
yeah,
I
the
know.
vulnerability,
Yeah, I know.
right. So the people that you love have the potential to hurt you the most
Yes.
Yes.
or be the most safe. That's what I'm really sharing.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. What about you, Conrad?
For me, I would say space.
Mm.
Because I think it goes back to that mantra that I learned, think
Yeah.
before you speak, kind of thing. So I need time to process
Yeah.
what was being said and how I'm going to respond to it. Now, over the years, I kind of was just loosey goosey with that. But I think in the recent years, I've been more like, okay, she would text me. and then I don't respond to the text. And she would come in, whether it's from work, from wherever, or she's in her office, she texts me, and hours later she's like, "Did you see my text?" I said, "Yeah." No, I didn't respond. What I should do is say, "Yeah, I got your text, I'll get back to you." But I'm trying to process the stuff. And again, it depends on the question. So, and what is being asked for me anyway. Some stuff I may respond immediately if it's just nothing, but if it's something has to do with life, what we are dealing with, whether it is the children, finances, whatever, a personal relationship, whatever that is, it takes me a little time to process it because I want to make sure whatever I say is not going to come back. You know what I mean? So I want to make sure that I know what I'm saying. And so I would say space for me is the primary thing. Also, yeah, I'm not reassurance, physical effect. I'm not, she always remind me I'm a what is it, a D personality?
Yeah, D dominant and a disc person.
So I'm an active service type of person. You understand? So these things is what they don't really. I think space is probably the only one that fit for me. Now if something is happening that has nothing to do with us, but hypothetically, let's just say we had a situation, not hypothetical, we had a situation pertaining to her mom, and she's going through her, so I'm there as, I will give a physical comfort, if that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
I know when to use it,
Sure.
but I personally, or if I'm going through something, she will present that to me and I will receive it. You understand? So it all depends on the situation, I believe, the circumstance, the what in the moment kind of stuff, and things like that.
Travis, what makes you feel most secure in your marriage?
What makes me feel most secure in my marriage? Okay, so this is gonna sound like he didn't pay me to say this, okay? Reliability, consistency. So Conrad, when he says acts of service, that's acts of service on steroids. Like okay, for example, there's this particular we moved from one state to another. There's this food that I like that I didn't think they sold it here. And I mentioned it to my younger son because I finally found it. And my younger son ate the last one, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So then now I wake up this morning and there's 2 packs. He went and got it for me. I didn't ask him. He just heard it. Like, that is the kind of stuff. Sometimes I have joint pain. In the middle of the night, he may get up and mix me some ginger concoction. It's in the fridge. That is what. So his acts of service, unique unto me, is nobody's gonna take my Conrad. Like that makes me very secure and safe.
What about you, Conrad?
Secure and
what
safe.
makes you feel most secure?
Wow, I don't think everyone ever asked me that question. Or I'll look at it that way. Wow, I think it's. I think I look at it in more so that I'm secured when I know my family is taken care of, right? Like I know that they're not in need or in want of anything. I think that it makes me feel at peace, if that's sense, right? When things are unhinged, it makes me, it kind of puts me in a place that I don't want to be, but I think that the knowing that if this needs to be done, that needs to be done, or whatever, and whether I provide it or it's just being provided, it's just that the family is taken care of. I think that's the security that I have, that the home, I can go away knowing that food is in the house, or
Yeah.
this is happening or whatnot. Or if I leave the younger one in the house, I'm secure enough to know that he has learned enough from us to know what to do. God forbid anything should happen.
Yeah.
So those kinds. I think safety and safety, not using the same word, but safety and security. I think that makes me feel secure, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
The next question, I think you have already answered this, Conrad, but Travish, how have you had to learn how to respond differently during emotional moments?
Absolutely. So again, my tendency is to someone's not feeling well, or I see, oh, what can I do? Let me get engaged. Let me get in the game. But that is actually, that doesn't work for him. He needs space, right? And I
Yeah.
had to learn how to not take that personal, that like he needs time. And it's not intuitive for me, right?
Yeah.
I wasn't raised like that. So that seemed, in the beginning, it seemed cold and mean to watch the person that I love
Yeah.
be upset or have some need. Not that I'm, I can't meet all his needs, but I take help meet seriously.
Yeah.
So I had to learn that like the space is not, he'll come back.
Yeah.
Yeah. And in some sense, that's actually helping your spouse when you give them their space. Because I'm like that too. I need time to think things through. I need space to like, because I try not to like just respond in the moment or have to have something to say, in the moment. Yeah. All right, so we're moving
That
on.
makes me the pursuer.
So we're moving on to faith and covenant. And the question is, what role does faith play in your marriage?
So as we were talking, I didn't want to, interject too much because I feel like we're saying a lot of things maybe a little off the trail, right? But so this question, throughout our talking and just answering the questions, I am very much aware of what God has been doing, and I think what God has been increasing our faith. God has been, as we talk about this now, my faith is being increased because I'm just hearing what God has done, how nothing we don't deserve any of it, but how he has been faithful to keep us. So that's what I would say, how faith is playing a role in our marriage. Just the fact that he is consistently there, consistently showing up, doing what he said he would do. And he meaning God. So just put.
I think that we both, we both were saved before we got into a relationship. We weren't, we weren't married or dating or whatever, unsaved. So I think from day one, even in our relationship, even though our courting was short, well, I would say about a year, right? A year and a half or something like that before we got married. We were courting. We learned to respect each other's boundaries and what we believe in and what we're not gonna do, stuff like that until we got married. And so I think that was the starting point of what we believe in, carrying over into our marriage. And I just think that, life again is something that keeps you on your toes and keeps you on your prayers, keeps you on your knees. And as we said earlier, I think the fact that bringing in children at home or buying our first home or things of that nature, we always turn to God first and prayed about it. And we have seen his hands in everything that we do, the business, the children, just our life, moving down here to Georgia, all this kind of stuff. I believe our faith has helped, is the catalyst, the engine that I believe that is running our marriage. I don't think I'm sitting here wavering about God or she's not doing the same thing, and those are the things that we pass on to our children. Let them see our faith walk and what we believe in and what we're praying
Amen.
about and stuff like that. You know, so it's been a big thing for us.
And how do you practice commitment during difficult seasons?
You know something. So I'm Gen X. This is what I say. I'm Gen X, and like the resilience factor just is built in as far as I'm concerned. Like I'm not going anywhere. I know I love him. Things are going to be challenging, perhaps, but I don't know. He's my friend. He's my lover. Like we're not going anywhere. Like things can be difficult, but I just know I'm going to be here. I don't even know. That's not eloquent, but I just know I'm going to be here.
No, that's good. That's good. That's really good.
I think that's the same thing. I think that over time listen, man, again, I think for me, I look back, things was moving so fast. I think, let me just put it away. A lot of things was happening very fast, right? And for me, in my eyes, it's just when I moved down here to Georgia, it kind of slowed down a lot. And when it slowed down, you begin to see things. And you're, man, I can't believe we overcame that. We did this and all that kind of stuff. And you know, it is something that reminds me that yes, difficult seasons come and it's here and all that kind of stuff. But just to kind of reflect on what God has brought us to. Again, time would not permit us, but how we got our home, how the kids was born. These are big things. Yeah. We actually didn't almost end up together. We didn't even talk about that part where, you know, it was a big mess. But you know, from the time of, you know, when I told you we met in thing, but it was just so much thing. I believe God had his hand in play for us. And I think that it allows us to be more committed to each other, to the journey and to this, you know, whatever we're dealing with, you know, because I know, again, listen, we're here, you know, unless God says otherwise, this is what we're doing until, you know, death do us part, I guess, right?
And what scripture or spiritual principle has shaped your marriage most?
I'll be going first. You can go. You want to go first?
What scripture or spiritual principle has shaped your marriage most?
I mean, I don't think we I don't think we ever talked about having a particular scripture. I think we just always knew what scriptures to refer to, right?
So it could be a principle, you know. Could be a spiritual principle you live by.
I would say, well, I think the principle is actually tithing for me. Right. Let's just use that, right? You know, giving back to God, because I solely believe in reciprocity. That's me, right? I'm sold out to it. I believe in what you give, it shall be given back to you. And it doesn't necessarily be monetary, right?
Okay, you just did it for me. Okay.
Yeah, it's not so much monetary stuff. Right. So I shouldn't be used tithing. I'm just using
reaping and sowing.
Right? Yes. Reaping and sowing. So I believe that when you do things, God is going to repay. God is going to give back to you. Whether it's
sorry, can you see if there's a
we can
error on my
right. So I firmly believe it. So if I'm driving in the street and I see somebody that's like, God say, give this guy $10. And literally, I would just he's out there selling waters. He said, you want 10 bottles of waters? No, I don't want 10 bottles. I just want to bless you. Here's $10. Keep your waters, give it to somebody, and I'm about my business. I'm not expecting God to give me $10 back or $20 back, but it may come in whatever other form. It could be coming in the form that a deal came through or this happened or something like that. I'm not here to put two things together. I'm just saying that reciprocity You know,
Mhm.
give and it shall be given back, sowing and reaping. I think that's a principle that we both live by when it comes to you know, our marriage. I think also where when we do things, whether it's for our godchildren, whether it's for, you know, it's also set
Liberal givers, yes.
right. It's
Being
set
generous. Yeah.
right. It's set a not only for our sons to see,
Mhm.
but also for them to know that, you know, this is something that we want to do to show you what God is doing for us. So, you know, that you also can continue on that kind of legacy and stuff like that. So
Can I add
go
something
ahead.
really tiny?
Go ahead.
Just
No,
with the reaping and sowing, I think also you explained it very well. And I was also just thinking about the marriage, like, you know, the fruit of what you know, the labor or the end result of what you put into your marriage is
Yes.
directly tied to what you work towards, what you bring.
Amen.
So I know that I try to make sure that I'm talking to you in the way that I want to be talked to, and the children. It's so hard, the teenagers, but I'm trying to model the behaviors
Yeah.
that I want to see in them as adults. I'm
Yes.
trying to speak to you well. I'm trying to treat you well. I'm trying to, you know, when I come to you and I
Right.
I want that to be not a strange thing. I want that to be something that blooms.
Right.
Because I planted that. So
Right. How you want to be treated,
Mhm.
you give that back out to, you know, so you can get it back. You know, back to the scripture, if you want to have scripture to it,
Mhm.
you know, when it says, love your neighbor as thyself, right?
Yes,
So
yeah.
you really want to make sure that how you're talking, and for those people who are watching this later and you know, struggling with certain things, the issue is not the thing or the other person, the issue is you.
Mm.
You know, you have to fix you for you to work with, you know, for you to really communicate with other people. Because if you're just mad at yourself, you don't love yourself, and you don't have no respect for yourself, how am I going to respect her? How am I going to love
Yeah,
her? I'm going to treat her right. You know, that's the general context of, to me, of that scripture, where you have to take care of you first
right.
before you can take care of somebody else. And too many people are getting into relationships and they can't even take care of themselves. That's another story. But and so no, we see it. You know, I mean, you know, I'm in my business, in my line of work. You see people that are in relationships, buying houses, doing all kinds of stuff, and they can't even control their finances. They can't even do all this stuff. So how are you making such a big purchase with somebody who you're not even married to yet? That kind of stuff. So, you know, you have to know how to be. You have to know to take care of yourself right in every capacity, every level, whether it's money, spiritual, physical. You can't talk to me about eating healthy when you're eating cheeseburgers every day. Plain and simple. So you have to know how to take care of yourself, respect yourself. And to her point, you want to give out, or you want to give out what you want to receive back. Let's put it that way.
Amen. So we're going to go to section 6 to look at some practical systems. So number 1 says, do you have structured marriage habits such as weekly check-ins, date nights, budget meetings, prayer rhythm, or a combination of those two, or all of them?
Or
No,
anything
we
else
have
that you
fallen
want to
off. We've absolutely fallen off of those things. There were times, and I want to say also the rhythm of our lives is a little bit, we haven't found, like, I feel like what our life will be yet. I'm still in the early part of my career figuring out what my schedule is actually going to be to build some consistency.
Yeah.
And then he is also traveling for business, so you know we could do better. But we have some things that are kind of interfering and making it more of a hurdle. I think we would aspire to some date night.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think we basically we definitely attempted to try to do date nights. It listen, I think this first 7 years we did a lot of these things.
Yeah.
When no children involved, I think we were able
Right?
to and it's ironic, you know, when people become empty nesters, they go back to that kind of stuff. But anyway, I think that we did do a lot of that because we were just us. We go out, we watch movies together, we spent a lot of time together. We talked about how we gonna save $1,000. You understand what I'm saying?
Praying about that too.
We
A lot
pray,
of prayer.
we,
A lot of prayer.
we were in rhythm with that kind of stuff, and we went food shopping together. We did all this kind of stuff. So we spend a lot of time together. And I'm not listen. I thank God for my sons. I'm not taking away from not having them, but I think having them shift our focus a lot. You understand, especially when we didn't have a lot of support. I'm gonna keep it one. A lot of people talk about village and all that kind of stuff. We had a mom, but my mom was retiring. Her mother was also in the retirement, up there in age, and so we can't just say we're gonna leave these kids and just go to Italy. You understand?
Right.
People do it. I don't know how, but we were concerned how our children is being raised, what they're, because it doesn't take them. It does not take a lot to change the trajectory of a child's because of experience. Something can happen overnight. Something can happen in that space that they are in that could change them. You know this.
Yeah.
Could change their lives forever.
One incident.
And then they could turn around and start blaming you. You left us with so. But anyway, I think that our focus became more about them instead about us. Now, as they got older, we went. I think when we did our 25th anniversary, was it? No, it was the 25th, 26th. We went to Cayman. So 25th, we went to Jamaica.
Oh, okay.
So 26, we went to Cayman. That was believe it or not, that was the first trip we ever went on having children.
Just
by ourselves.
Wow, nice.
You understand? And we went out the country, gone. You understand? And not worried because we know they were older. They had this, sense of, whatever, and they were my brother. So it was kind of a little more at peace. But I think that kind of thing took us away, our, date nights and stuff. So we have tried it. We have, since we've been down here, we were talking about we have gone out to lunch, we have gone out to brunch, we have, but there are a few things we could do better on,
That's good. So you're leading into the second question that says, what daily or weekly habit has had the biggest impact?
You know what I think? I think for me, when we are able to get together during the day, so when the boys are at school or at work and we do something, whether it's go for a little drive, go to lunch or whatever, I feel like that brings back that, oh yeah, Conrad, Teresa and Conrad, the friend. That's how I feel. But I'm always the warm and fuzzy. So how do you feel?
What daily or weekly habits has been the biggest impact? Yeah, I think those are the things. I think when we do go out, I mean, honestly, I'm very consumed with my work, right?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I mean, because I'm running a business from another state.
Yeah.
And so my mind is always preoccupied in terms of what's going on in New York and all this kind of stuff. But on the other hand, when she do say, "Oh, let's go food shopping," or "Let's go driving around,"
anything can be a date.
Yeah, anything. Let's go drive around.
I was about to say that it's not necessarily the concrete, typical stuff that
right.
people
Yeah.
do, because I've talked to other couples where they go for hiking. That's their date. They'll often say, Sandi, we don't do
Spending time together.
They see more of a spending time together. They don't necessarily do the typical date night.
That's what it is.
Yeah, I would
go
say
hiking. They'll go rock climbing. They'll do different things together, and that's what they constitute as their date. As their date night.
We used to when we first came down here, we have a lot of parks down here in Georgia. And we live close to one of the biggest ones. And we used to, before she started, her schedule, what she's at now, we used to walk at least 2 or 3 times a week in the park. And I'm talking about at least a mile, 2 miles, 3 miles of walking. And yeah, there are times, we have our headphones on and we're doing our thing, but there are times we're talking for the whole entire thing. And it's a good feeling because
Yes, it
we're
is.
able to get out a lot of stuff. And yeah, we in the wilderness. Should I be Jason in the wilderness? Get your hair and nobody will fight. I'm just playing. But but no, because we get into these, we don't get into heated conversation. We get a heated conversation, but not arguments.
Yeah.
With discussions and stuff like that.
We can talk. So we had to explain this to our children when they were younger. So we have a level of, again, we're not going anywhere, right? There's no degradation of character. We have never,
we don't insult
each other, but we are safe. So we can talk hard in a sense, but it's not an argument. I can say true things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I can say truth. I can tell you, and you can say it back, and there's the space of no one is bruised or damaged. We can say, but maybe sometimes I do wonder if other people see it, they might think it's an argument, but it's not a yelling. It's I'm passionate.
Yeah.
And no one's getting hurt. No one's angry. Do you understand me? And we I think we come away with some good resolution and resolve being able to do that.
And I think also, even in those spaces, one of the things that became a problem, or was a problem, it's not so much a problem now. I mean, you tell me if it's different, but sometimes it's how we could be saying the same thing.
Yes.
And we having a discussion about saying the same thing. If that makes sense.
Right.
So it's almost like on a debating team.
The grass is green.
Right.
No, but you don't understand because the grass is green.
Yeah, that kind of thing.
And what does that mean? We're not listening.
We're not listening, right. And I think that and I'm telling you, this is like open air field, these trails, but the park is not just a regular, our parks is not like Central Park or one of these, maybe not, there's a lot of people, it's like long trails, right? Nothing but woods. And there's some places I don't even let her go by herself, because it's very lonely. You could be the only person on the trail. So you can talk and be passionate a little bit and, stuff like that, and, express your views and stuff like that. But over the time, I think her knowledge of what type of job she does creeps in, and I have to be telling her, hey, I'm not one of your patients. Okay. or sometimes she says stuff that will make me say, okay, yeah, we are saying the same thing. Okay, so the conversation over. Let's move on to something else.
Yeah. What advice would you give couples in the first, few years of marriage? Based on your experience, or maybe something.
What years?
Let me just say, everyone, please if you're getting married, please go to premarital.
Yeah.
And someone who knows premarital. I'm not against your pastor doing something. I think your pastor can also be a good resource, but because I think your pastor should know that you're getting married. I think that's important. I'm old school in that way. I know sometimes churches are bigger and maybe that's not practical, but I'm okay with your pastor knowing and praying for you and it's imparting. But if they don't have a good premarital program, please get into one. Please.
Yeah, it's important.
Yeah. So
professional. Lincoln and I, we feel the same way, that outside professional, and we're not against pastors but I think it's better when we advise couples and those that are considering to get married, we often suggest that they get the professional where they can embrace everything, because that's what they're licensed to do. They'll talk about finances, they'll talk about everything. So we often suggest and especially since COVID now, there's a lot of help out there.
Mhm.
Yeah,
There's a lot of help out there.
yeah.
Mhm.
I think that, for like couples who in their first and third year of marriage, if you don't have any children, and again, it depends on the age. If you're young, I would say enjoy each other in the first
Yeah.
3 years. I would say travel, you know, take advantage
Good
of that
point. Yeah.
freedom to travel. I think a lot of people, we are from Lincoln, all of us, we're from this generation. Our parents were like, get married, have kids. No, 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 start a
Yep.
family. Come on.
Yep.
And I think one of the things that you're pushing people to, one of the things we used to hate, why y'all ain't have kids yet?
Yep.
Y'all
When
ain't
the
doing
baby
that.
come in.
Nah, 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 nah. And stuff like that. And there's could be a lot of other things going on with that couple that you don't
You
know
don't know,
about.
yeah.
That's right.
Yep.
You
That's right.
understand? So, and it's not this bit, they're not telling you their business.
And they don't need to tell
And they
you
don't
that.
need to say it.
Right.
That's right.
But
Mhm.
enjoy yourself. Spend a lot of time together. Go away a lot together. Explore the world. Save some money. Be. I would say in the first 1 to 3 years, be consistent. That's not the word I'm looking for, but be consistent. Or be intentional. That's the word.
Yeah.
Be
Mhm.
intentional about the next 5 to 10 years of your life.
Mhm.
How are we going to make it? What are we going to be doing? How are we going to spend, now we have people getting married who are, they're making 6 figures or whatever money they're making. But if you like to splurge and do whatever, make sure, because we all saw what
Still need
happened
to
in
be
the pandemic,
intentional.
right?
Yeah.
Anything can happen to change the
Mhm.
course of your life. So make
Mhm.
sure that your planning, is sure.
Yeah.
I wish somebody was teaching us these things when we were younger, and because we were just out here figuring it out on our own, right? Look to get advice from people. If you're coming from, I would say, team up with somebody who's been married for a while and who
Yeah. That's good advice.
seasoned, then you can talk to them and and go through the motions with them and stuff like that. So for you to marry the first 3 years is difficult. A lot of divorces happen in the first 2 years or 3 years of marriage, I believe. And so I would say those things. Focus on each other, but also focus on yourself, and try to work on each other in communication and things of that nature.
Does year 10 makes a big difference in marriage where there's certain things that couples may want to think about? As you know, you shared some ideas there about learning about each other, spending time together, as much time as possible. And I guess also growing financially as well, not just growing wiser together, but growing financially so that you're not plunging yourself into poverty, when kids come, when it's hard to make ends meet. And then, life becomes really stressful. And
Yeah.
you have children on top of that.
Yeah. So I mean, are we in the last part? 7?
Yeah, we're just gonna go straight to the third one in 7 and let Sandi handle
Yeah.
that.
Is there
No,
a
I'm okay. Good. I'm sorry.
yeah?
No,
Is
what I
there
would say is,
yeah, go ahead.
could I say this about people who
Yeah.
are, like advice, people who are married 10 years and older?
Yeah.
I would say you need to take a pause on, when you hit that mark, as a 10 years, those are the things that looking back now, I'm just saying,
I was trying to remember.
take a pause and enjoy the moment, right? Because life, again, it's a cruel thing, man. You understand? Sometimes life can be, even though it may be good, you may have some great things going on, but life sometimes, the term they use, life be lifing. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
Yeah.
you can get so consumed with the life and the children and the house and the job and the ministry or whatever you're doing, and you're not enjoying the moment. So I think when you hit that 10-year mark, you should take a step back and say, let's celebrate it. What God has done for us in the last 1 to 10 years, and what do we expect in the next 10 years, next 10 to 20 years. I think when you take a pause in your life and you get to recalibrate, you get to, reassure, you get to see certain things, because you commit, I wouldn't say we missed out on certain things, but I think that if we had done certain things a certain way, or just, I should say, be intentional about, you see, my wife is a avid planner. I'm not, right? I'm gonna keep it 100. I'm not the person that's gonna use a calendar, write things down, and make notes, and I gotta make it. No, it's all whatever's going on here is gonna happen. You understand? You understand? And so,
Yeah.
but she will write stuff down, plan stuff out, have a calendar, and it took me years to finally set things on a calendar, put things down, write things down. And when I do it, I realize life is a lot easier. And I'm saying how much
Amen.
stuff I could have accomplished
Yes.
or be less stressful if it was
Mhm.
planned out properly. And I think that's what I'm saying about the pausing, to stop, you're looking and you kind of reflecting on, okay, how we did the last 10 years and what we're going to be looking for the next 10 years, God's willing. So let's look for that, find that place, whether it's 8, not whatever it is, you find your space where
Yeah.
you and your spouse sit down and just have a moment of reflection, whether it's on the beach, whether it's just walking on the beach, whether it's just going to the park. Hey, we celebrate the moments, I guess, and go back and see how you can make something better, make some tweaks and stuff like that.
Yeah. Like inventory, taking
Inventory, like
inventory.
it, yeah.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
assessment.
Make an
Assessment.
right.
Always
Yeah.
assess.
There's any business that does not take inventory. How you know how much you're spending and bringing in and all that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
You spending too much on your credit cards, are you spending too much on trips, or you spending too
Yeah.
much. I never forget this one guy, and I'm digressing, but I remember this one guy who was a financial planner. He came before we had kids, before we bought a house.
Oh, right.
And the dude came to our house, and he kind of, and I'm telling you, if we were so stupid, but if we had gravitate to what he was teaching, and he was a young guy too.
Yeah.
And he basically gave us a scenario of what was going on in his life and his wife's life. They lived in a city, and he said that every night, when they look at them, they wonder why they couldn't save money.
Mm-hmm.
And they decided to put a chart on the fridge, and this could be used for somebody, right?
Mm.
And every night they come home, they wrote down how, if it was 25 cents, what they spent the 25 cents on. Dollar,
Wow.
what they spent it on. Every night they wrote down where the money was he spent. He said at the end of the week, they will spend a lot of money on takeouts and yellow cabs. Can you imagine that? Takeouts and yellow cabs. I wonder how many people will write this down and say they spend too much on Uber Eats, DoorDash, Starbucks, this guy. And honestly, I don't know why that popped in my head. Maybe it's for somebody who's going to listen to this later. But
Yeah. Go ahead.
you got to take inventory. You got to take a step back and look and say, okay, what are we? And that's something that we've been trying to work on as well. What are we spending too much money on? Or, and money it's not the root of all evil, but it can become problematic in a relationship.
It's the love of it.
Very much problematic.
Yeah.
And people, if you don't govern yourself money-wise, it will govern your marriage.
Wow.
If you don't govern your money, it will govern your marriage, and it can either break it or make it. Depends on how it governs you. So before the money governs your marriage, you must govern your money.
I think you just provided us a key takeaway.
Yeah, you heard
a key takeaway.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I
Trish,
think
you have
that's one of
anything
the
to add to that, or you have a particular key takeaway yourself?
Key takeaways. I guess I would just echo some of the things that I think I hope is common knowledge, and that is, a good marriage, a good relationship is really the friendship piece is really important. I talk about with my boys, I'll say, I like you and I love you. I think those two things. I like you, I like him, and I love him.
Mm-hmm. And some days you don't like them.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I
That's
always
part
love
of
But
it
you
too.
all the love is there. No, listen, I'm keeping it 100. Right now I don't like you. I just leave me alone, give me my space. Or she probably could say the same thing. Right now I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to.
Yeah,
That it doesn't take away that we don't love you or love each other.
Yeah.
It's just that right now you're human. You're just
Mm-hmm.
I don't
yes.
I like you.
Yeah.
Leave me alone.
Wow. This has just been truly awesome.
Yes.
You know,
Wonderful.
to the listeners that are out there listening, I mean, Sandy and I are just so thrilled to have the Higgins here with us, on this third couples interview on Couples Emporium.
We're honored.
Uh, I mean, the nuggets that they just shared in these, last 5 minutes, just so awesome. These takeaways, because recently I was telling Sandy, I said, we need to do a budget. We need to start looking at where our money, is truly going, because we make decent money, but we have a place in another state, and we work in New York, and we're currently residing in New York, and we want to manage it better. And yes, we like Starbucks and stuff, and we have one of those machines in the house, and we want to use that more. But there are just certain things that we like, and we want to be more disciplined in our spending.
That's it, man. It's hard though, bro.
Yeah.
I'm not sitting there. Trust me, we're not sitting there that we got it all together. I don't want to say
Nobody
that.
does. Nobody
26, 27. We made some mistakes and we've learned from them, and but
That's key.
back to the faith thing, God has really been faithful.
Absolutely.
I would just say, he's a good father.
Yes.
We stray away, we run away, we do all crazy stuff, but he's always there to take us back and forgive us and dust the dirt off our clothes and say, hey, okay, let's start again and let's see if you're gonna get it right this time. And so so I don't want people to think, oh, the Higgins got it all together. They're a great couple. Listen, we ain't telling you all the stories.
Yeah, and that's the reason why we do this, because we feel like everyone can always benefit from something a couple does that might be able to help someone else. And like you said, our marriages are not perfect. It's a work in progress, but we're always willing and working on it. And I just love some of the nuggets even that Trey shared, where she said, hey, I'm committed to this thing. I love this man, and I'm not going anywhere. So sometimes you might get on my nerve, but I'm here. We're here. We're gonna work things out, and I'm the pursuer, and I'm gonna do what I need to do to make sure that we are walking in sync. And I think that's just so powerful, and it's needful. And to you listeners that are there, we truly just want to thank you for spending the time with us. And if you have not yet subscribed, please do so. Please like the conversation that the message you heard here today, and please share it with someone else that can benefit, because our marriages are truly a work in progress. Sandy, anything you want to say before we end?
I also want to remind, the couples out there that there's no such thing as a perfect marriage. We've reached out to several couples, and they're hesitant because, they would often say, I don't want to talk or share. And our goal is this is not about shaming or embarrassing anyone or putting anyone on the spot. But I think, especially with social media, we're seeing now where, yes, there's times where transparency, this is just my take on it. When you have transparency without any kind of boundaries, then yes, you'll find a whole lot of mess, a whole lot of chaos going on. But it's important that, we share and let people realize that there's no such thing as a perfect marriage. Early in our marriage, because of how Lincoln and I, we advocate for marriage and how we feel about marriage, people would, label us as a power couple. And I said, there's no such thing. We're two flawed human beings, trying to make things work. And it's all about thriving. And that's the goal of Couples Emporium. We want to see marriages that are thriving. And that's why we extend invitation, and I'm extending invitation again to couples out there. It's about sharing what you've gathered so far with your partner and to help to build someone else, because they touched, the Higgins touched on finances, and that's the statistics shows that that's what is destroying marriages. It may not necessarily be the root, but somewhere along the line, somewhere in there, it's usually finances.
And it doesn't matter if you're newlyweds.
Yeah.
Because there are things that, you may have learned. Your learning curve may have been shortened because of something that someone might have shared or something you may have discovered together.
Yeah.
And we want those, or that information to be shared to help someone else.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you.
Say this. Lastly, I think I just want to say, I'm so blessed and fortunate to be born when I was born, right? Because my parents' generation didn't have information.
No,
it was just shut up, kids, figure it out. And then now we have a generation that have too much information.
Yes.
You understand? And so, we are trying to, I guess, for us, we, like we deal with our children, trying to sort out all the information and what is truth.
Sift through,
sift through it. Or what is true and what needs to be thrown out. You understand?
Yes.
You can't throw out the baby in the bathwater. You have to,
there
are some things that you keep and some things that you just, you get rid of. And so I would say to people, don't listen to everything that's out there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You can listen to us if you want to, or podcast, whatever you want to listen to, but work out these things. The Bible said to work out our own salvation with fear and trembling, right? So we to work out our marriages.
Yes.
Yeah.
Work it out. It's a job. It's a, I tell somebody the other day, because we deal with a lot of situations where marriage doesn't work out, and I say, it's interesting that you sign one paper in the church, and for some people it's a book
for divorce
when they get a divorce. You understand? And you have to go through it and make sure this, and I'm dealing with a lot of house sellers right now because of that. And so for me, I think that you just want to make sure that not to get to that space, you want to find the right information that's going to help your marriage grow. Not every fertilizer is for every plant. So you want to find what works for you, works for you. And that comes with you and your spouse, knocking it out together, and figuring it out together and working it out together. Because I think that's really the problem. One of the problems is that people just go along with their mosey lives, and then real life and trauma and situation hits, somebody in the marriage can't handle it, and they escape. But I would say that I said, our forefathers didn't have the information. They made it work, but it doesn't mean that it was right how they was making it work. And then now we have all this Instagram and YouTube and all this information to, everybody giving their advice and opinions. And so we have to be mindful of where we're getting that information from, how we sifting through it, and take what's needed, but don't absorb all of it, because what's working for Lincoln and Sandi may not work for you. You understand? Or what's working for us may not work for you. You gotta find your own, chart your own course.
Yes.
Set your own path and trust God that He's going to continue to lead you in that part. That's
right. That's right.
So we'll end on that note.
Yeah.
Once again, just thank you guys so much.
Yes,
And
we appreciate
Thank
it.
you so much. I appreciate you guys.
Yeah.
All
All right,
right.
take care.
All right, later.
All right.
All right.
Bye-bye.
God
you.
bless.